Shalom, Yashal, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh. I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Yasharallah. Call Haloyim Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Harakal Kodash for blessing our elders with the spirit of truth so that we may know. Shout out to the Akim and the Akwaf that's keeping the faith in the works. Y'all keep at it. It's your brother Abaya coming at you with more precepts. It's the book of 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 7. It says, "But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer." All right? So we living in those days. And the reason why we know that we living in those days, which is the end, is because we have been watching. What are we watching? We're watching the prophecies. Right? When it says be ye therefore sober, we're not drinking the wine of the daughter of Babylon, right? We focused on the word of the Most High Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, and we're watching the prophecies to kind of gauge how close we are. And it's a lot of things that's happening at the same time. And mainly the last few prophecies pertaining to the times that are attached to the return of Yahweh Shai. All right. So with that being said, I'm gonna let this video play and I'll be back.
It isn't without reason that the World Economic Forum's initiative is called the Great Reset, the name that inspired this documentary. Part of their plan is the creation of central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. This would allow central banks to have a new monetary system that they can detach from the current one, allowing people to transition into this new debt-free system and slowly deleveraging and dropping the debt from the previous one without adding risk to their currencies.
So central bank digital currency is coming alive. It's not going to happen today. I think they have a 12-month experimental period that they want to go through before they actually launch for good.
The status of it is we're working hard on it right now. Let me tell you what it is really. We're going to address digital payments broadly. So that means stable coins, it means crypto assets, it means the CBDC. That whole group of issues and payment mechanisms, which we think are really at a critical point.
Would you say that the corona crisis has even revealed more the need to have a digital central bank currency or currencies?
Well, yes, I think the corona crisis has accelerated very much technical change and use of digital innovations across the board. I mean, it's not only in financial transactions, but in e-commerce and show business. I mean, there are so many examples that you know. But yes, it is a factor. Pretty much all central banks are thinking about this.
In the last few weeks of 2020, the People's Bank of China rolled out a pilot program in the eastern Chinese city of Suzhou. They had to download an app and have it on the phone. In a macro way, you have a sense of how money flows through the economy on a micro scale, and this is something that many in the West would probably not be comfortable with, and many in China, frankly, would not be comfortable with, is that it would allow authorities to be able to track precisely how you or my neighbor or the person down the street is spending the money. Are they spending the money on buying things they shouldn't be buying, however you define that? Are they gambling with their money? Are they doing this or that with their money? They say it's just to replace physical cash, but of course, this could just be the first step.
Adoption will come for these CBDCs. In fact, it will be forced adoption. The government will start supporting citizens in need by only giving them stimulus payments through a wallet controlled directly by the central bank. The central bank will essentially be able to eliminate commercial banks that are currently the middleman between the central bank and the citizens. For governments, it will simplify many things. If they decide to change interest rates, they will be able to act on it directly rather than wait the several months needed for commercial banks to implement this in their systems. They will also be able to control directly the interest rates based on a person's profile or a business's profile.
All right, so that takes my mind to Revelation 13. Revelation 13:16, it says, "And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that hath the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." This is a major prophecy that we're seeing, unfold. Right, Neuralink, that's a real thing where they're putting chips in brains. They started off with animals, and I believe 2022 was the year that they were gonna put them in humans. So they've been doing that. We haven't heard anything from it, but they've been doing it. Right. We also hear of inflation. Right. So hold on one second. All right, so on top of us hearing about a central bank and digital currency that's being developed, and all of the different countries that's about to get with it, and we also just heard, the thing that got unleashed on this earth that got everybody sick and dying, that created an opportunity to reset everything from the economy on, right? But you got to break a few eggs in order to, bake a cake. You got to make a mess first. And we're in the midst of the mess, right? And let me see. Well, let me let this video play.
Thanks, Jen. Following up on Leach's question, a lot on the economic pain in Russia potentially from these sanctions, but what about the economic pain here? The Russians are saying they think gas prices in Europe are going to double. How high could they get here?
Well, I think, again, Peter, and as I said to Ouija, some of this depends on what President Putin does. So as he's suggesting what the impact will be around the world, it's all based on what his actions are, just to be very clear about it. What the president is focused on and is working on is taking every step we can to communicate with, coordinate with, engage with big global suppliers around the world to minimize the impact on the energy markets.
But even without all this going on, gas in California is almost $5 a gallon. Should people across the country expect to see that kind of a number when they go to gas up their car? $5, $6?
Well, again, I think as you heard the president say last week, standing up for our values is not without cost. What we're trying to do is minimize that cost. So I don't have a prediction of it right now because we're...
All right, so it's finna get ill out here with the price of things, right? And they've been saying this for, I know, about a good year, ever since that big ship got caught in the I think it was the Suez Canal. It's been issues going on with freight. It's been issues going on with different nations and the different sanctions and everything. All of that stuff, it has no choice but to come back and bite the daughter of Babylon, right? Because it's been going on for so long, right? So we got the digital currency that's attached to the MOTB, and we also have this hyperinflation that could attach itself to famines, right? So this is the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 19. "A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation," right? Tribulation basically means all of these things happening at the same time. And eventually, it's going to trickle down to them actually coming for people. Like it says in the book of Revelation chapter 2 verse 10, they're going to lock some of us up for this truth, for the truth's sake. Right? But all of these things are happening at the same time. Right? All right, so on top of all of that, you got the threat of World War III. Right? You got the issue with Russia and Ukraine. And really, it's Russia, Ukraine, China, Taiwan, America, France, Great Britain. It's all of the nations all around the world are taking sides. They're choosing sides, right? Which takes my mind to the book of Matthew. Matthew 24. And let me see. Verse 6, it says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences," right? "And earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows," meaning all these are the beginning of tribulations, right? "Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake." Right? They're going into the end. And that's what we're seeing. All of these things happen at the same time. We're seeing famines. We're seeing pestilences. We're seeing nation against nation. We're seeing kingdom against kingdom. We're seeing wars and rumors of wars. And we're seeing Revelation 13, the mark of the beast, at the same time. Right?
Looming threat of a major Russian invasion of Ukraine. Vladimir Putin has ordered Russian troops into 2 breakaway regions. Massive Russian firepower is arrayed along the Ukrainian border in a high state of readiness. What's not clear yet, has Putin decided to go for a full-scale invasion? President Biden called Putin's actions so far the beginning of a Russian invasion of Ukraine, imposed a round of economic sanctions, promised more to come if Putin further escalates aggression against Ukraine.
And this morning, Ukraine has declared a nationwide state of emergency. We are covering all the angles of this crisis, from Moscow to Washington. We're going to begin with our senior foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, in Kyiv. Ian, we know that the Ukraine's president just met with his National Security Council, and he called up some reservists as the threat grows.
Yeah, that's right. Good morning, Robin. A state of emergency declared in Ukraine, and yes, that's right, signing an order calling up more than 35,000 military reservists who have combat experience. There are still more that he could call up, but all of this, of course, signs that the country is now bracing for the worst, a potential full-scale invasion by Russia. ABC News also learning this morning that the military briefed President Zelensky and leading lawmakers overnight that they now believe that the situation in the east might deteriorate in the next 2 days. Two sources who are at the meeting say that a Russian attack may go beyond the east, targeting at least 2 key cities and potentially here in Kiev, the capital. Of course, that would chime with what the Biden administration's been warning for some time now. This state of emergency, though, means putting more enforcement on the highest alert, protecting critical infrastructure, potential curfews, and trying to prevent any destabilizing moves like organized protests or potentially worse. At this stage, though, it isn't martial law. It's not quite putting the country on a war footing, but it's one step below that. Now, both US and Russia, of course, have evacuated their embassies in Kiev. Today, the Ukrainian government advising all of its citizens to leave Russia immediately, and President Zelensky is calling for an emergency session of the UN Security Council. George, it's all looking very, very soon.
All right. So, this is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, and verse, let's see, verse 74. It says, "Hear, O ye my beloved, saith Yahweh, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for power is your guide." All right? The days of trouble are at hand. Right? But if you've been praying, you've been keeping the faith and the works to the best of your ability, the Most High will guide you through all of these times. Right? And he'll use the men of the Lord, you know what I'm saying, to help guide you for real, by watching and equating what's going on around the world to scriptures to be able to keep our mind in a certain place. All right? Let me see. Same book, same chapter, but verse 37. 2nd Ezra 16 and verse 37. It says, "Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrows shall come upon it on every side. These plagues are not going to slow down, man. They are going to get more and more fierce, and they're going to become closer and closer and closer together until ultimately Judgment Day. That's what the end means. The end means this thing won't continue to go on and go on and go on. It has a end point, right? And we're close to it, right? Let's go to the book of Sirach, which is Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 16 and verse 18. And I'm going to end it here. It says, behold, the heaven and the heaven of heavens, the deep and the earth, and all that therein is, shall be moved when he shall visit. The mountains also and foundations of the earth shall be shaken with trembling when Yahweh looketh upon them. Right? These different governments are about to be done, man. Especially the daughter of Babylon. It's a wrap because it's the end. The payment is coming for all of the negative that this devil and their friends have sowed on the earth. They must reap. Right? This place is not the kingdom of heaven, man. And you don't have to die to go to the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven is going to be on this earth. But these surrounding nations must get out the way first before the kingdom of heaven comes. The daughter of Babylon must be destroyed before the kingdom of heaven comes. And these prophecies must come to pass before the kingdom of heaven comes. So Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah Ratazah, these precepts in this video were edifying. Call Haloyam Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem Harakah Kodash. Shalom Yashala.